Hi, welcome back to CBS Sports HQ, presented by Navy Federal Credit Union, as we continue to run down this incredible day in college football. I want to bring in CBS college football playoff guru Jerry Palm. Jerry, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Listen, obviously after today it would be either LSU or Bama with a blemish on their record, right? So it's looking pretty good for LSU going forward. But what about Alabama? I mean, is there any way they can make it at this point with that one loss on the record?
Well, they can, but it's not going to be easy. It would have been easier for LSU, but Alabama doesn't have LSU's strength of schedule, and that could be a problem. Obviously, they're going to have a good loss, but if a good loss is the best thing that they can say about you, you don't really have much. If Alabama wins out to finish 11-1, their best win will most likely be over Auburn, who could be 8-4, and that's, a good win, but, not a super win. And the rest of their schedule doesn't really make up for it, which means they're susceptible to falling behind, say, a 12-1 Oklahoma, 12-1 Pac-12 champion, maybe. Certainly a 13-0 Baylor would finish ahead of them. So they're going to need some help, or maybe they need Clemson to lose, which seems even less likely. But they're going to need help. Alabama's going to need some help in a lot of places if they're going to make it to the playoffs at 11-1.
All right, so Minnesota upsets Penn State. Lions going to definitely get knocked out of the top four this week. Where do you see them landing, Jerry?
Probably in the neighborhood of 10, and Minnesota probably will be immediately ahead of them in the rankings this weekend. They should be, because they beat them. And, Penn State will still have had a better schedule, but Minnesota will have that key head-to-head win, and they'll both probably be right around the bottom of the top 10 this week.
So you're saying Minnesota's going to jump from 17 into the top 10 after that win this weekend?
Thereabouts. Yeah, it depends on what some of the other teams that are still playing do. But, yeah, right around there. I mean, you got to understand, if they go 13-0, they're going to have jumped from 17 to at least 4. They're going to the playoff.
Wow. All right, in 2 weeks we get Penn State, Ohio State. This is essentially a battle to see who represents the Big Ten East in the conference title game. Now, if Penn State wins, their chance to make the playoff dramatically increases. So, Jerry, if Ohio State loses, is there still a path to the playoff for them without a Big Ten title in hand?
Well, we'd have to see what some of these other teams are doing, but it's essentially largely the same as Alabama's, except Ohio State would be in a little better shape because of a better schedule and because of just how dominant they have been against their schedule, at least to this point of the season. But, they would probably still need some help in other places. But that's a better question to ask when Penn State actually does it.
Yeah, easier said than done, right? And so now that Alabama and Penn State have lost, do you see that opening up the door for maybe one of the 8-1 Pac-12 teams to move up? Of course, Oregon 8-1, Utah 8-1, everybody jockeying position. Any movement there from the Pac-12?
Yeah, I think it certainly helps the Pac-12. I don't know. Oregon is the best candidate because they played Auburn outside the league. Even though that's their only loss, it still adds to their strength of schedule. And I think they're in the slightly better division of the two within the Pac-12. So Oregon would have a better shot than Utah as a Pac-12 champion. But, yeah, I mean, they're certainly – if you're a one-loss champion in a major conference, you're at least going to get a conversation for one of those playoff spots unless we have nothing but undefeated teams.
And what about Baylor? I mean, the Bears stay unbeaten with that triple OT win against TCU. Jerry, where do you see Baylor landing when the smoke clears there?
Well, I mean, 13-0 Baylor is a playoff team just like Minnesota, right? But, they got to beat Oklahoma. They got to beat Texas. Now they get them at home, so the schedule's set up great for them. This week they're going to probably move up a little bit, win over TCU. That's a good team, triple overtime. Not going to impress the committee that much, but it's better than losing. So they'll probably creep up the rankings a little bit this week.
And, Jerry, listen, still a few weeks to go, but I have to ask before we let you go, when it's all said and done, and I'm sure we'll ask you this again next week, who are our top 4 teams vying for that national title when it's all said and done?
Well, the current projection is LSU, Ohio State, Clemson, and Oklahoma.
Oh, baby, I can't wait. All right, CBS college football playoff expert Jerry Palm. Jerry, thank you, my friend. Great information, as always, buddy.